So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 65 of our Aston Martin Tape. I hope you had a cracking Easter weekend, especially here in the UK. We had no Formula 1 unfortunately, but if you did miss that, go back and check the last episode out. And we even had a special highlight video out on Good Friday as well. It was the Japanese Grand Prix, and my word, did Pierre Gasly pull it out of the bag, beating Max Verstappen on the final lap of the Grand Prix to get the win for Aston Martin. It was another good showing from Verstappen and Sainz, and the Mercedes looked particularly strong as well. Fernando Alonso didn't have a good race and finished down in P18. What does that mean for the important standings? Now, we've got 4 races left to go, including this one today. Red Bull lead the Constructors' Championship by 21 points. Only 2 points ahead of Ferrari. We're in 3rd place, and it must be said we're comfortably the 3rd best car on the circuit at this moment in time. We've had a couple of upgrades, so really we shouldn't be able to win it, but we still believe we can, especially with the 2 drivers that we've got. We've had a few mistakes from both drivers in the last few races. We're hoping that we can both now get it together towards the end of the season and win the Constructors' Championship. Driver standings wise, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. Pierre Gasly's had a cracking season, second only to Max Verstappen, who is around, 70, 80, 90 points in front, something like that. We did obviously beat him in the last race, but I think the gap is too much to bridge. So I think Max Verstappen is going to win the driver's title, but the Constructors is all to play for. And today we head to the Circuit of the Americas. Charles Leclerc holds a lap record here, 56 laps round here, can be quite wearing on the tyres. Expected strategy is a 2-stop, medium, hard. The soft's not really viable around here. And sections and car attributes, acceleration and top speed not so important, cornering specifically low speed and high speed very important. So I'm going to get through all the practice sessions and we'll see you in qualifying for the American Grand Prix.
Welcome to the United States Grand Prix. We're in Austin, but there are no wild cowboys on the track this weekend, just some serious horsepower. It's sure to be a race to remember. The Circuit of the Americas has it all. Twists and turns, steep climbs, fast corners, and a power-hungry Sector 2. Quite a headache to balance, even if teams will be looking at maximising downforce overall. Aston Martin are just a few points away from winning the title and making history, if they can manage it.
Red Bull is lying in wait, ready to charge to victory.
Stay right here, because we're just getting started.
You join us at the end of Q3. We've had immense pace all weekend, but what has just happened here on the final flying lap in Q3, Fernando Alonso has just done this. He's locked up and absolutely binned it. Not good for him. It's all on whether Pierre Gasly can get pole position. He's green through the first and second sectors, but doesn't improve enough. Maybe those yellow flags did have an impact. But after topping both Q1 and Q2, Pierre Gasly only good enough for P4. Fernando Alonso down in P9. Max Verstappen is on pole for tomorrow's Grand Prix. Let's have a look at the strategies and see if we've got a spare front wing for Fernando. Right then, so we're not going to do anything too manic on the strategies. Medium, hard is probably the optimal, or some variation of that. So we're going to go with that on both cars. Obviously, Fernando's a little bit lower than he'd like to be, but Pierre Gasly, I do think, has got the pace to challenge Max Verstappen. We have had safety cars around here in the past, so that could play a pivotal role. But both cars on the same strategy. Let's get to 5 red lights for the American Grand Prix.
Sit tight and get ready. It's the United States Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we're going to be keeping an eye on Fernando Alonso because he's in P8. He's got work to do early in this Grand Prix, as has Pierre Gasly, but I'm hoping Fernando can get past a couple of these cars early. He's got the pace on Norris and Ocon especially, and if he can get past them, he could very much be in the fight for a podium this afternoon. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly has got the 2 Mercedes in front of him battling away. He's going to have to make light work of these 2 to catch up with Max Verstappen. If we can stick with Max, hopefully we can get it right on the pit stop strategies and go from there. But early doors, no real overtakes to mention. Fernando's in quite a nice spot. As we can see, Russell and Bottas really battling here, which is slowing them down a little bit. But we're quite happy to just chill out. We've got a couple of cars on the soft compound tyre. Sainz and Ocon are on soft compound tyres but used ones, they're going to really struggle in a few laps time. The tyre wear around here is not very good at all, so Fernando has got to make sure that he's there to pounce when those tyres go off. So it's Verstappen who leads from Bottas, Russell in P3, Gasly P4, Ocon P5, Sainz P6, Norris in P7, driving very well. Alonso in P8, he's got Leclerc behind him in the Ferrari, and Alexander Albon is in P10, lap 1. Lap 3, first overtake for the Aston Martins, and it is Fernando Alonso getting past Lando Norris. He didn't have the pace of the cars in front. We had the DRS and made the use of it with a little bit of ERS as well. Fernando's now being told to use his battery to try and catch up with the Ferrari of Carlos Sainz, get the DRS from him, which I believe he just has done. And if we just slow it back to normal speed, Fernando has now got DRS on the Ferrari. We have got a DRS train all the way up to P1, but Fernando is now in a much healthier position than he was a little while ago. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly sticking onto the front runners quite nicely at this moment in time, not using his tyres too much, not using his battery too much. Pierre is sitting pretty at the moment as the three cars in front are having a real ding-dong battle here, and it's really not helping any of them. Their tyres are going to be a lot more worn than Pierre Gasly's if they keep battling like this. But Valtteri Bottas looks like he's about to get the lead of the Grand Prix. Max Verstappen has the inside line going into this next left-hander. It's a tight left-hander. Verstappen will get it, and I think Verstappen might also get DRS down this long straight. Let's stick with it and see who does. Which rear wing's going to open? It is going to be Max Verstappen in that Red Bull, and he's going to go past his teammate, going to go past Bottas, and George Russell has also used that DRS to great advantage. Max Verstappen covers off the inside line, and Max Verstappen is back up to P1, lap 4. Lap 9, big moment. Pierre Gasly manages to get Max Verstappen into turn 1. It's a ballsy move. Later on the brakes of Max Verstappen, great move from Pierre Gasly. And remember, we've got the two Mercedes in front of us. One of them's obviously going to get priority on the pit stop, so we've got to be happy with that. And it was a very, very good move from Max's closest title challenger. So Pierre Gasly now is very much on the back of the two Mercedes in front. He's in a nice position now, Pierre. We can work with this. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso, we're going to keep an eye on him. He's still on the back of Carlos Sainz and Ocon, but hopefully these two are going to release Fernando Alonso in a couple of laps time, and that is when we can really start to attack and push up to the front runners. Ocon didn't get DRS on that straight, which is going to be a huge blow for him, and this is where we may see the two cars in front start pulling away. But at the moment it's P3 and P7 for Fernando. We may as well have a look at the back. Lance Stroll in the AlphaTauri has just had a lock up, he's down there. Meanwhile, so is Sergio Perez, which has been a huge problem for Red Bull in this Constructors fight. We've had a spin on track. Let's have a look at this. I'm trying to see who's tumbling down the order. It looks like it is Alexander Albon, and we are going to get a view of this now. Alexander Albon battling with the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, just gets a bit over-eager on the throttle and spins it out. So it's still P3 and P7 for Fernando, but yellow flags at the moment. Lap 9. And lap 10, Ocon and Sainz came in, which has meant there's now a big gap between Fernando and the top four runners. Fernando is now leading the next pack, so he's got a little bit of work to do now. We don't really want to push on the tyres too much. He's already had one spin this weekend, but at the moment he's not in the worst position in the world, and if we do pit a little bit later with Pierre Gasly and the front runners, Fernando could come in to tactical play. But P3 and P5 now on the track, and Fernando will keep P5, I'm sure, from the two that pit. Sainz and Ocon, strange to one for the soft compound tyres. I'm not quite sure what's gone on there in the respective garages and the strategists, but we didn't fancy the soft compound tyre today. But Fernando Alonso is going to get overtaken here. Lando Norris, great move round the outside. Fernando, a little bit of work to do here, but has not managed to get the position back. So Lando Norris is up to P5, lap 10. Lap 15, and we've got people coming into the box. Bottas is in, Verstappen is in, as is Fernando Alonso. So Pierre Gasly is still behind the leader at this moment. 0.7 and has got DRS. This is perfect for Pierre Gasly. We're just going to tell him to pit the next lap. That's not a problem, but Fernando Alonso is in. The idea of this was to try and get an undercut with Fernando Alonso. He has been better on his tyres, but let's have a look. We could do with no hold. We're held. We're particularly held. This is one of the worst pit stops we could have imagined the time we have lost there with Fernando. It has not worked out for him at all. And now where is Verstappen's miles in front? Alonso comes out P16. He's lost a lot of time in that pit stop. He's going to have to use ERS as well to try and get back in the DRS range of Kevin Magnussen, I believe, is in front of him. He's lost a hell of a lot of time there, Fernando Alonso. He will be absolutely fuming, as are we. Verstappen, though, did come out of that sort of smelling the roses. And he's got Bottas in front of him as well for the DRS. Gasly coming in this lap, but he's still fighting with George Russell. We'll come back in a little moment when Gasly's into the pits. Now, interesting there, George Russell has stayed out, so Pierre is in for his pit stop. Hopefully, we don't have the same issues which blighted Fernando Alonso. Alonso may have to do something a little bit different now later on, but Gasly, are we going to get a good stop? We certainly are. 2.3 seconds. It's a very good stop for the Gasman. Now, where is he going to be in relation to Verstappen and Bottas? We're looking. Bottas and Verstappen are coming down the start-finish straight. Pierre Gasly, he's already out in turn one. It's beautiful work from Pierre Gasly. He's now got a Williams to dispatch, which I'm sure he's going to do very, very quickly. We're going to use a bit of battery to get past him, and then he has got clean air. But gap to Verstappen is around, what we on, 18 seconds. He's got a 4-second gap now to Max Verstappen, so the undercut not optimal. We'll bear that in mind for the next sector of the race. But let's just have a little look as Pierre Gasly now having a look at this Williams. You're already using the deploy as he gets down the inside. We're very slowed up here. The Williams cuts across. Gasly's all over the back of him, but he is going to get DRS on this Williams. The Williams tries to defend left and right, and somehow he's going to manage to defend Pierre Gasly down this straight. Unbelievable scenes. The Williams on 41% tyres has managed to defend that. I'm absolutely speechless. And this is playing into the hands of George Russell. And let's have a look. Is George Russell going to come into the pits on lap 17? He is. So George Russell is in. Pierre Gasly, he's doing everything he possibly can to try and get past this Williams, but can't quite do it. Alonso's just overtaken Stroll. We'll have a little look at this. It's going to be a difficult afternoon for Fernando now, but he's done well to get past him there. DRS used, and he's passed him into that corner. But the key is now, where is George Russell coming out? He's onto his second set of mediums. Gasly has got the inside line down here, and he's going to be using ERS all the way down this straight and DRS. George Russell is coming out of the pit lane. What is going to be the distance between him and Pierre Gasly? Gasly has got him and takes the lead of the American Grand Prix. Beautiful work from Pierre there. We're going to go a bit lighter on the tyres now as well. But great work from Pierre. We've got P1 on track. Mick Schumacher is going to be a bit of a moving roadblock at this moment because his tyres are cooked. Fernando Alonso has got a hell of a lot of work to do now. We're going to have to get the strategy call right on the next pit stop. Lap 18. Lap 21, and we're just seeing these two trade places at the front. Gasly and Russell look like the two contenders to win this Grand Prix at the moment. They're overtaking each other, using a bit of DRS. We're still light on the tyres for Pierre Gasly at this moment in time, while George Russell has got a little bit fresher tyres. We're aware of that. Ocon is 6 seconds behind now. Alonso's up to P9. If he could get past a couple of these cars in front of him, that would be absolutely ideal. We're going to tell him to just harvest a bit of ERS at this moment as well. But Pierre Gasly absolutely cruising at the moment. If we have a look at the lap times, we've got 138.4, 138.8 for these two, all in the 139s behind. It's working out very well for Gasly and Russell at this moment in time. Car in the wall, and that is exactly what Russell and Gasly didn't need. In terms of our strategy, it doesn't make sense to pit. We're going to have a look at Lance Stroll, and let's have a look at this crash because this has brought out a safety car. Lance Stroll locking up the front left. It's basically what Fernando did in qualifying. Not great for Lance at all. Obviously, our ex-driver, there is some concern there. But Fernando Alonso is now up to P7. Ocon and Sainz, this is their perfect pit stop, really. But they're going to have to pit again. The odds won't go to the end from here. And we're very aware of that as well. What this is going to do is bring Verstappen and Bottas right back into play, which is not what we wanted because us and Russell had pulled out an amazing gap at the front. 11 seconds it was from Gasly to Russell, but now we're all going to bunch up again, and it's going to be a very, very interesting second half of this Grand Prix. I must admit, I'm a bit gutted we've got that safety car because I felt with Gasly we'd possibly got this in the bag, but does also bring Fernando very much back into play as well, and we're conserving his tyres. Fernando's on 68% tyres, but Gasly and Russell in a different world. Lap 24 will come back when we're back to green flag running. And a lap later, lap 25, safety car is ending. It will be George Russell to lead us away off the start. Pierre Gasly in P2, we know he's got the pace. And George Russell, when is he going to go for it? It looks like he's gone now. George Russell restarts the Grand Prix from Gasly. Bottas in P3, Verstappen in P4, Leclerc P5, Magnussen P6, Fernando Alonso P7. Work to do for Fernando. We're telling Fernando to push on the fuel. Gasly and Russell, it's a little bit different for these two at this moment in time. We're quite happy to just use his pace, use the tyres, and we can go a little bit later. We've had another incident on track. Are we going to get any replay of that? I believe we will. But at the moment, it's Bottas running wide. Let's have a look at this one then. Valtteri Bottas off the start. I mean, he's just cut the corner. Again, out of the Lewis Hamilton school of Formula 1 driving. Bottas maintaining his position. I'm sure Max will be on the blower saying, I'm not happy with that at all. Fernando Alonso now, he's going to be told to get on with it and get past Kevin Magnussen. We don't want to be stuck behind a Haas. Will he have a go up this straight? Let's ride on board with the Spaniard. He needs to recover. If he can beat one of a Red Bull or Ferrari this afternoon, that would be absolutely huge for us. He's not managed to get past the Haas down this straight, and Magnussen is already looking like he's going to lose touch with the two cars in front of him. So as it is, it's Russell from Gasly, Bottas in P3, Verstappen P4, Leclerc P5, Magnussen P6, Alonso 7th, Norris and Ricciardo, both McLarens in the top 10. Sebastian Vettel in the Renault Alpine in P10. Lap 26, must be noted as well, Perez back in contention for points. Lap 26. We've had an incident on track, and I'm sat with my head in my hands because it's Pierre Gasly. The man who was absolutely brilliant at the last Grand Prix has just done this. He manages to get past George Russell and then locks up that front left. He's into the wall. That's going to cost a few quid, but what it's also going to do is cost a lot of points. The one silver lining in all of this, and I can't even take it as a positive, but Fernando Alonso is coming in to the pits. Gasly's retired. Alonso is coming in to the pit lane under safety car, because we reckon that if we come in now, we're going to go onto the hard compound tyres, but everybody else has had the same idea. They're all in as well. Fernando's in.
Happy to lift and coast.
Hopefully we don't get shafted like we did on the last safety car. But let's have a look at the pit stop here. Fernando Alonso is into the box, comes in for the hard compounded tyre. Does he get a good release? Let's have a look. Is he going to be held again? He isn't. He's straight away out. And Fernando Alonso's done really well there. He's in front of Magnussen and in front of Russell and in front of Verstappen. So after all that, and as much as we've had a little bit of criticism of Fernando in recent races, this is his time to shine. But we can't seem to get both drivers doing the business at the moment. But Fernando now has a chance to win the American Grand Prix. These have all got to pit in front apart from Carlos Sainz and Ocon. So Sainz and Ocon, who weren't on the optimal strategy, are now very much in position to win this Grand Prix. But Fernando Alonso is currently charging up his battery. George Russell is further back behind Magnussen. What Fernando's got to do is clear these cars in front of him as quickly as he possibly can, and then we'll worry about tyres. But lap 29, we've only one car in it, and that is Fernando Alonso. So here we go then, normal racing conditions are to be resumed, and it's going to be resumed by Daniel Ricciardo in the McLaren.
We just need to push now.
Who's going to get going now down the start finish straight. Carlos Sainz and Ocon are very much in the fight to win this Grand Prix, dependent on how their tyres can hold off. Fernando Alonso needs to get past these cars as quickly as he possibly can. It's basically a race to the front between himself and George Russell. The more cars he can put between himself and George Russell and catch up to Sainz and Ocon, that is what he needs to be doing. And straight away, he's going to be told to use the overtake and get past them. So lap 31, Alonso, all on you, my friend. Fortunately, it's not just us that are locking up. Max Verstappen has just had a lock up and gone straight on at turn 1. That's cost him a fair few places indeed. So Max Verstappen, what it could have meant for Pierre Gasly. They gutted in the Red Bull garage, they gutted in the Aston Martin garage, and there's another safety car. Another safety car. I'm not quite sure what that was for. If that was for Verstappen, that's quite safe, I would say. It's not, it's just Sebastian Vettel. Let's have a look at what's happened to Sebastian Vettel. I'm guessing he's done what Gasly did, and as he looked up at that front left into that corner, has caught a lot of drivers out this weekend, Fernando being one of them. But now we have another safety car, and this is going to benefit the guys in front as well. But Alonso can save his tyres a little bit more, save the ERS, and we will get ready to go again once the safety car comes in. It's going to be a long old race this at the Circuit of the Americas. Right then, back to green flag running again on lap 34, and it is Carlos Sainz who's going to lead us away in the Ferrari, followed by Ricciardo, then Ocon, Tsunoda, Albon, Alonso in P6, Mick Schumacher P7, Magnussen P8, Bottas and Russell P9 and 10, Perez P11, Verstappen P17. It is not a good day for the Dutchman at the moment. Will it be a good day for Fernando Alonso? We reckon Albon, Tsunoda and Ricciardo have all got to pit. And that means it's going to be a three-way fight between Sainz, Ocon and Alonso for the win, as long as Alonso can keep it on the track. Lap 35. And as soon as I said that, that happened.
So this was the
Fernando Alonso, what on earth are you doing? He's down to P17, and that basically is that for our Grand Prix. We have been in the best position we could have been in for the constructors today, and they've absolutely blown it. Is this going to raise questions about the car? Yes. Is this going to raise questions about the drivers for next season? Yes. We're going to have a look at what we're going to do next season. We haven't decided yet with drivers. We've not decided with manufacturers. There's rumours of new teams coming in. So there may be an option that one or both of these drivers could go. They've done wonders for us this season. But mistakes like that are costing us more than you know. And Fernando Alonso is now driving around at the bike with Max Verstappen. Unbelievable. We've had another safety car, and oh my word, this isn't going to be what I think it is. Bottas and Russell colliding. I mean, I thought I were having a bad day at Aston Martin. The Mercedes Toto Wolff is going to be slamming headphones about like you have never seen.
Car in the wall.
Fernando's now back up to P14. He's still behind Max Verstappen. But is this still an outside chance of some points? I mean, you just think where we could have been in this Grand Prix. But I'm not going to sit and whinge about it all afternoon. Although I might do. Lap 37, we'll come back when we're back to green flag running. Right then, we are coming back to green flag running now. Fernando Alonso's already going for a move on Max Verstappen. And tried to get the jump on him. Didn't quite manage it. Now, we did have a few cars pit. Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Albon all pit on to the medium compounder tyre, which is going to be faster towards the end. So all these guys in front now, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens from here. If we have a look at the tyres, pretty much a dead heat apart from the top two. Sergio Perez, who were in absolute no man's land, is now in the fight to win this Grand Prix. Unbelievable. We've got Guan Yu Zhou, Norris, Hamilton, Nicholas Latifi in the Haas in P8, and then Verstappen Alonso battling it out for P9. 16 laps to go. Anything can happen. We're still hopeful of some points, but it could have been so much more. Lap 40. Well, you're going to get to see two highlights, and they're not very impressive, but Fernando Alonso managed to get past Nicholas Latifi. It took him long enough. Verstappen got past him about 3 laps ago, and it took Alonso a lot longer than that to manage to get past him. But, as you can see at the top, Fernando Alonso has just got the new fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And he's now only 0.5 of a second behind Max Verstappen. There may be some decent points in this towards the end. We're pushing on fuel. I imagine we're using the tyres up as well, which we are, but no problems at the moment for Fernando. He could get probably P6 could be on the cards if he uses his ERS and DRS wisely. Lap 47, Carlos Sainz still leads for the Ferrari. I don't believe what I've just seen. Carlos Sainz has just hit from the lead of the Grand Prix. He must have been really suffering with tyre wear. But Carlos Sainz now down to P14. He's going to take the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. But that is an absolutely bonkers decision, which is making me think, is Esteban Ocon going to do the same? I would suggest not. Because Ocon, I mean, Leclerc's just overtaken him, so... But Ocon, is he really going to pit? I'd be amazed if he does. Alonso, we're still in this big DRS train. We can actually see the leaders. It's just a case of getting past some of these slower cars. Lap 49. And lap 51, Ocon has pit. Leclerc now leads. Alonso's up to P7. Battling it out. So there's 2 Red Bulls, 1 Ferrari, and 1 Aston Martin in the top 10 at the moment. Red Bull doing bits in the constructors here. We don't want to see both titles go to Red Bull if we can possibly help it. But at this moment, they are looking very, very quick. Lap 51. And we've had another crash on circuit, and my God, is he going to be a McLaren here? It looks like it is. Wow, I mean, the Haas, that's a little bit kamikaze. I'd be very, very upset if I was the McLaren team principal. We don't have a safety car, but with 3 laps to go, Alonso is in P7. Verstappen's managed to get past Hamilton. It's all on what Fernando can do now. He's got 3 racing laps to use the tyres, use what he's got left of his battery, and absolutely go for it. Lap 53. We've had another crash on circuit, and I've seen a Red Bull parked at the side of the road. Let's have a look what's happened here. We've got Leclerc and Perez going at it. And what's happened here? It's just a lock-up from Perez. Who smashed into Leclerc. That's 1 Red Bull and 1 Ferrari out of the mix. Fernando Alonso is now up to P5. He needs to get past Lewis Hamilton. He needs to get past him. If he gets past him, he could possibly have a look at Max Verstappen. Is he going to manage to make a move down this straight? He's late on the brakes. He's still using the ERS, but he looks like he's passed Max Verstappen. Position gained. Although Lewis Hamilton's fighting back, and it looks like Lewis has managed somehow. I don't have that pace. You are telling me, Fernando, and all this fighting with Hamilton is meaning that Max Verstappen is getting away at a rate of knots. Max Verstappen is actually in the fight for the win here. Unbelievably. Let's have a look if Fernando's going to go for it up this straight. He isn't.
This is last lap.
He can't get past Lewis Hamilton here. Maybe down the next DRS straight he might manage it. I wouldn't write off Max Verstappen for this victory. We may as well follow it round for 1 racing lap. We've got Alonso, Hamilton battling for P4, Verstappen battling for P1. Can he make a move on the 2? I mean, Lando Norris, that's the story of the day. Lando Norris and Guan Yu Zhou are battling it out for P1. Let's keep an eye on this battle. We'll keep an eye on Lando Norris, seeing if he can win this Grand Prix. I mean, it'd be an amazing achievement if he can. I think he just might do it. Right, we can see practically everything here. Norris down this straight from Zhou, then Verstappen. I would imagine Max Verstappen is going to manage to get the move done. Fernando Alonso will cut back to this battle. He's looking to go around Lewis Hamilton. He looks like he's got the job done. He certainly has. Fernando Alonso up to P4. Great work from him. We will go back to the battle for the front. Lando Norris and Guan Yu Zhou have managed to hold off Max Verstappen. We saw the overtake live, so we're not going to watch the replay. But Lando Norris in the McLaren is coming round the final few corners here in Texas. And what a win this is. What a win this is for McLaren. Absolutely brilliant from Lando Norris. As he goes around the last corner, Lando Norris will win the American Grand Prix. Guan Yu Zhou, he's got a battle on for second. He's managed to call him off. And Fernando Alonso takes P4. But what a performance from the 2 guys at the front. Norris and Zhou, the stories of the day. Verstappen and Alonso. Yeah, Alonso's battled back well in the end. Pierre Gasly will be sat in the garage, absolutely fuming. Let's get to the full classification. So there we go then. You can see on the left-hand side, Lando Norris wins the Grand Prix. Guan Yu Zhou gained 13 places during that race to finish P2. Max Verstappen P3, Alonso P4, then Hamilton in 5th, Albon in the Audi, double points for Audi. Yuki Tsunoda and Mick Schumacher for the Williams, both scoring points as well. Carlos Sainz P9, Esteban Ocon down in P10. Drivers standings wise, Max Verstappen extends his lead to 100 points. I think it's very much in the bag. Pierre Gasly scores no points when he should have scored plenty. Carlos Sainz in P3, Leclerc P4, and Alonso gains 12 points. Alonso could catch one of the Ferrari guys, it must be said. Constructors standings wise, it wasn't a good day for us here at Aston Martin. Not as bad as Ferrari though, we are only now 9 points behind Ferrari. Red Bull on 467, 25 points in front of us. The last 3 races of the season, it's going to be huge if we can somehow bridge this gap, but we're going to have to cut these mistakes out because it is really costing us. I hope you've enjoyed that. I'll see you on Thursday for the Mexico Grand Prix. Please like and subscribe. See you later. Ta-ra!